universalautomation.org, it's about sharing a technology, a shared runtime execution engine.
We call it a game change in the automation because we have first one technology which is based on the IEC 64099, which is the standard which aims at decoupling hardware and software.
Hardware itself is becoming very, very performant in terms of processing and CPU power, and the future is more and more about software.
This approach is really a winning approach because it's very, very flexible. You develop the application once and you can reuse in each different configuration.
That's exactly what Universal Automation and 61499 enables, because it brings a new formalism for developing software, which is object-oriented in nature and which allows deployment of a distributed hardware for the actual final control system. So let's say that it's a marriage made in heaven.
So if I want to make more conscious decision based on my business data, which also come from the automation level, I need universal automation to get this data in an efficient way and with the right engineering efforts on the level when I can do and run the analytics.
Offers are available, not just from Schneider Electric with EcoStruxure Automation Expert, but also from Advantech, from Stahl, from ESA in Italy, and from other companies.
Advantech is growing really, really fast. And I believe if you want to keep on growing in the next future, you need to be able to innovate. And when I see universal automation approach, it is exactly the way of innovation we need to go with.
Most of our customers from process automation are pretty conservative, so never change a running system. But now we see a new generation coming up, what is used to new technologies, and they are open to test, to try these new functionalities. And I think most of them pretty well understand the advantages on this. I'm doing this now for 20 years, and I think over the years, this is the most exciting changes.
And from my experience, I see that in the IT, for example, there has been a big revolution. And I expect the same in automation. I don't know when it will happen. Probably takes a little bit of time, but probably a revolution will come.
Hi, everybody. Good morning, good day to you, wherever you're based over the earth. My name is Greg Bucco. I'm the Chief Marketing Officer for universalautomation.org, and I'm happy to be here with you today for this new release of the UAO Goes Live sessions. Since the beginning, we've been explaining what is universalautomation.org, and we have been welcoming some of our members with us doing projects and actually showing how the technology is being used. Today will be a bit different because today we'll go for a panel discussion with technical experts in the fields. But why that? And why universal automation? Why all of these technologies going now together? So let's see it from perspective from the end users. We see that for decades, companies have been kind of restrained by vendor-specific hardware. So not that easy to change the hardware. The software which is implemented onto it is tightly locked and tightly linked with that hardware. So not very easy for innovation, sometimes not very appealing for new generation. And we see that today companies are more and more looking for unlocking their potential. And that is happening in various forms. We see on the market more and more companies going for open. We see organizations are being set up about open automation. For example, the open automation, the Open Process Automation Forum, the OPAF, or even our organization, Universal Automation, which are coming first from let's say users and first from companies willing to have a more and more open automation system. But what does it mean? What does it enables? Open and especially in that case, software defined and universal automation means breaking the innovation barrier. So making it easier for companies to integrate newer technology in their already existing system by lowering the cost of accessing the data, the underlying data, which are always available in all systems. But this means as well the ability to reuse software across hardware platform, but as well reusing software, meaning that the life cycles from both the hardware and the software are decoupled. Meaning that when the hardware comes to end of life, you don't necessarily have to change or to upgrade your software to it. And that's a major stage. That's a major change, that's a step change. Another point is how to manage multiple suppliers. I have multiple suppliers, all are running with their own system. So it means that I have to train my people, I have to train my staff in maintaining, in developing, in all those different systems. And this training is for sure cost. And this is as well people management. We have to manage the knowledge between the different person in the team. And this is not always easy to do. And last but not least, let's think about future generation, new talents, freshly coming from school, very looking forward having the newest technologies and implementing that in the field. And coming to the field or field automation, where we can see that, things and the way to program has not really much evolved in the last 30, 40 years. And how to do that, how to bring that to the field. And this is what we, with open automation and universal automation, are intending to bring to the field. But how to, let's say, taking that question larger and taking other let's say actors on the field. Today we'll go with you through the question. Okay, what can open enables? And for that, we'll welcome some leaders from company from Stahl, from Schneider Electric, from Shell, from GR3N, as we discuss through the benefits of what opens bring to industry automation. And as we are transitioning, I'm happy to welcome on stage. So we have different people from different companies. So we have Trevor, who is a senior OT security engineer at Shell. Hi, Trevor.
Hello.
Franco, chief technical officer from the company GR3N in Switzerland. Ravi Chagazia from Stahl, Director of Global Business Development, and Victor Santos, who is our Process Automation Offer Manager at Schneider Electric. So hi to you all and welcome on stage. I'm happy to have you all for this panel discussion. And let's start maybe with the question about total cost of ownership, which is one of the part and one of the value which is brought with software-defined and open automation. And this question goes to you, Trevor. I've understood you have used software-defined automation. You have used universal automation already in one of your test beds. Can you tell us a bit more about it? What are the values which you see, and what are the gains which you could have already using the technology?
Yeah, so we had a opportunity to put this in actually a part of our operating facility at a chemical plant in an area that we had it's able to easily come down for maintenance and upgrades. So it gave us the opportunity to test the product in an operating environment without the risk of impacting production, and give us the ability to become familiar with this technology with any significant risk. From an initial perspective, I mean, it's learning the technology and seeing the benefits, but for some of the comments you made, there's some key benefits for Shell and in the oil and gas facility, particularly we're in an environment that is running all the time. We have very limited downtimes, maintenance turnarounds every 4 years, very staggered outages, which makes it challenging to keep systems current and up to date. And with what we see with the decoupling of software and hardware with open automation, and once you see the ability as this open architecture goes to more of a fully orchestrated HA environment, we now can see the potential for being able to move your control logic to other controllers seamlessly while you're still running and gain the capability to upgrade hardware without a turnaround or production outage, which is a big cost savings for plants like Shell. And then as well, one of the challenges we find is because of those strict shutdowns is oftentimes you're stuck at the behest of the vendor's life cycle. So then if your upgrade has to happen on this year, sometimes you're ending up putting up IO, for example, that is already halfway through its life cycle because that's the only thing that's available. When we start thinking of the possibilities of open architecture, you now can choose the hardware that has the latest life cycle, the latest hardware available, and you can lower your cost of ownership as hardware now has their whole lifespan ahead of it. I think other savings we see is when you're talking about the common interfaces, common software platforms, is with your skid package vendors. I mean, all your vendors in these large facilities, you end up having so many different automation companies in place, which also means your staff has to be competent and skilled in a whole variety of software interfaces, configuration interfaces, and the expertise needing to interface all those systems together and get everything to communicate. So if, for example, your PSA vendor now is supporting open automation, you can just embed their logic into your existing open automation system, and you can streamline what knowledge is needed at your plant to maintain all your automation systems and have an easy way to interface your systems together.
Yes, I see. And actually, that's very interesting what you say, because it's kind of backed up with one of the latest articles we've seen from the ARC forum in Orlando in total cost of ownership, and there were various people there coming from different companies and exactly backing up as well what you are saying about the different points on total cost of ownership. So yeah, thank you for your testimonial. I will now turn to Franco. Franco, you're working for the company called GR3N, and for sure we have just spoken about total cost of ownership, but there are other values and big values and trends which are very important nowadays, which is more about resilience and about availability and so on. And I understood you are one of the earliest adopter of the technology. So can you tell us a bit more about why choosing to go more towards open automation and universal automation? Can you tell us more about it?
Yeah, first of all, thank you for the opportunity of being here, and good morning, good afternoon to everybody. Look, Greg, you're right. I've been using the technology behind universal automation since a very early stage. And this was possible because as a company, we are still in a phase of industrialization, which gives us a bit more of flexibility and freedom in our demonstration plant to actually test different solutions. Answering your question, I can provide, I think, two hopefully interesting perspectives. One is related to what we are doing right now, so our current job of industrializing our proprietary process. And the other one is more strategic, more related to the future of our business. Now, for the first point, along our path of industrialization, we are in the chemical process industry, so inevitably we needed to build a demonstration plant of our process. And the dynamics of a plant for a startup, which must reach milestones and must adapt very quickly to the changes of specifications, was actually becoming one of the requirements for our automation architecture. Just to give you an idea, our recently commissioned plant is composed of 6 sections, which followed 6 parallel paths of design, erection, and startup. So how do you design independently or somehow parallelly to the underlying hardware development, the corresponding software architecture? Well, you need open solution. You need the decoupling between the hardware and the software, and you need a way of designing control software so that it can be easily updated along quick life cycles of the plant itself, if you want to call it local reconfiguration. So just to give you an idea, along the past few months during commissioning, it happened that we had to change quite deeply some of the specifications of the control because we discovered something new. So this kind of flexibility, this kind of reconfigurability of the software is, I think, a strategic and quite important aspect that universal automation and all the other technologies of open process automation are bringing. The second point, which is shorter, but I think equally interesting, it regards our business model. As a company, we invented a process. Our model is partially based on licensing this process to future end users that will build industrial scale plants, like the one that we are planning to have in Spain in a few years. Now, normally, this business considers us giving with our license a set of engineering documentation specifications, which another company, an EPC contractor, normally adopts to actually then design in practice a plant and build it. Normally, control is a minor amount of these documents, and control software is completely out of the scope of this model. And why is that? Well, because historically, the control software arrives very late in the stage of engineering of the plant. So it doesn't belong to a licensor like we are. Now, thanks to a decoupling between hardware and software, thanks to an anticipation of the value chain of control software development, we are actually, let's say, evaluating the possibility of extending our license to include also software-related aspects. And this to us is incredibly important because, as you might imagine, the software is an important part as they are tightened in us being competitive on a new market like the chemical recycling one. So this is, I think it's an interesting aspect that maybe is peculiar to companies like us, which works a bit on the verge of innovation, but I think can make the whole industry reason about the ramificated impact that open technologies can have on our market.
Yes, very, especially, yeah. You need to build something. You need to build basically a process which could be reused by others, and this not knowing what they will set as a system below, gaining the full flexibility, and yeah, this is
Exactly.
a very good underlying reason for going for more open automation. A question now to maybe Ravi. Ravi, you represent the company Stahl, and well, you've been already very early in the way to open automation and so on. I think you got already some offers which are available with, for example, the universal automation runtime. But one question for me is that how do you see for the customer, which advantages you see for the customer having these, let's say, multi-vendor systems? What does it give? What are the benefits? Can you tell us a bit more about that?
Sure, Greg. To start off with, thank you for this invitation to be on this esteemed panel, and greetings to the audience in whichever part of the world you are. The major part for Stahl has been the hardware that we promote along with the UA offering, which is the IS1 Plus. It was or is the remote IO for the hazardous areas. And typically, we always try to keep it open, and the perspective that you can keep it open to communicate to any of the control system vendors. And we use these standards-based open fieldbus protocols, open as they can be. Most of the time, the control system vendors customized it, or for a more diplomatic word, fine-tune it. And that ended up that beyond testing our hardware with that protocol, with the certification body like PI or ODBA, we would also have to test it with the individual control system vendor. So that definitely is a challenge from a vendor perspective. but also a challenge from the end user perspective. So for example, if he has a control system vendor and he has multiple sub vendors working with different protocols, so for one particular protocol A, he would have 3 or 4 variants in the plant, which he would have to keep a library and do version management. So that's a unrequired situation for the end user. This definitely challenges the concept of interoperability, which you expected with this field bus protocols. And this is what I believe and we believe that UAO is addressing as a major aspect of the new technology. Additionally, I would also add that interoperability was one of the major attributes for Open Process Automation Forum to be formed, led by ExxonMobil and several end users who also saw these challenges in the plants, in their plants. They decided that they needed a standard of standards, build up common information models, and ensure that you would have a real open system and a real interoperable system. And 1499, or rather IC 616499, Universal Automation became one of the foundational technologies for ensuring interoperability. So that is Stahl's take on it, and we believe UAO has a bright future going forward. I think I hope that this will be the major part of the business value that will come to end users adopting universal automation. Greg.
Good. Yeah, I'm back. Thank you for your valuable input, Ravi. I would like to call as well Victor to the stage. Victor, you are from the company Schneider Electric, and I mean, Schneider is already known for being a great advocate for open systems. And yes, could you tell us more what this open ecosystem means for the end users and means for industries in general?
Yes, of course. Thank you, Greg. Hello, everyone. Well, first of all, I believe this is bringing an unprecedented flexibility when building automation architectures. Okay, I spent many years of my professional career in automation project execution and designing architecture system and designing the systems. And a lot of the times when using monolithic and proprietary solutions, the challenge was overkilling the purpose with a way too expensive solution that sometimes is making difficult to implement the solution, and that was basically providing more than what customer or the user was expecting or requesting to us. And sometimes could happen the other way around, right? That maybe we are selecting a cost-effective solution, but at the end of the day, is not addressing really the key user needs in terms of robustness, availability, or data access. So with universal automation, which we do believe it's a really transformational thing that happening to the industry, now users can select the hardware, meaning the controllers, the I/O subsystems that can fit the purpose of what they need. So that's bringing I would say a new world, and also giving us and also the users the capability to design fit for purpose solutions. That means, for instance, that, we are handling sometimes really big facilities, chemical complex or refineries. And then, in those facilities, there are typically units that are critical for the process that may require robust and high available hardware solutions, while sometimes there are a lot of auxiliary non-critical units that are just supporting the major process, that you may do the automation with a more cost-effective solution that is just good enough for that type of processes, and that gives you the flexibility to design really something that is customized to the user needs. So it is really bringing huge value to the users from that perspective. In second place, that also we all remember this crisis we suffered recently with the global delivery crisis, where it was really difficult to get some of the components, and there were some products just where delivery time was moved from 2 weeks, maybe up to 1 year or more. And now with universal automation, it's also helping customers or users to have a more resilient solution, right? Because having the options to grab different components from different vendors that eventually you make some of them really close to your facility or even in the same country, to have a more resilient solution for the future, just in order to get what you need faster, and also with the certainty that you can put together all those components. And I believe this is the really transformational thing, is that a user can put together all those components in a seamless manner. Same configuration tools, same system management tools, all of them ruled by the same software, only one place to build the application. So you can make sure that any universal automation component you are putting in your system, it's a citizen of the same solution. So regardless of the vendor, the user can benefit of a fully compliant solution that is really fitting the purpose and is enabling easier operations and maintenance of the system. On the other side, I would like to highlight also the concept of the software-defined automation, right? How this decoupling the hardware from the software, it's also transforming and also enabling new type of technologies that can make the operation and the maintenance of the plants more sustainable and efficient. For instance, with the software-defined automation, we now can provide new approaches to the automation solutions with putting together the control and compute capabilities in the same physical platform. And that will basically is enabling a new way of building automation applications where the user can run the control engine together with other artificial intelligence, machine learning, data analytics in the same box, in the same physical platform. And it's really making data immediately available to the application that are using, and it's really opening a new door for this type of resilient and sustainable operations. And last point from my side will be that this also software-defined automation will enable new ways of achieving availability of the systems, and will enable concepts as disruption avoidance, which means basically that you can, a user, whenever the hardware is becoming obsolete, they now have the capability to just move the software application to a different control platform, so they can keep the system up and running without the need to stop the production. And this is very, very frequent use case in the process automation industries, where customers typically maybe just stop the plant. They make a general shutdown, a plant shutdown every 3, 5, 7 years, some cases, right? So this software, this decoupling of the hardware and the software and the application, it's really supporting those customers to keep their operation up and running without this disruption. I believe those are the major benefits for the users, Greg.
Great. Thank you, Victor, for your feedback on the technology itself and on the ecosystem. I think we have reached at least the end of the questions coming from me, and I will now take the question coming from the community. I see already some questions came. I will take one, and I think this one is for you, Franco, coming from Konanda. From your point of view, this technology help you for the ease of commissioning in some way? Can you say some words about that?
The answer is absolutely yes. Actually, the elaboration of the answer is that you need to anticipate a commissioning with a different approach with respect to what you did or you would do with the traditional technologies. If you follow a design pattern, especially for IEC 61499 software, you are able to actually anticipate some of the commissioning phase, especially for what regards loop checks and the commissioning of low-level typical elements like valves, pumps, vessels and so on. So you can actually anticipate part of the commissioning while you are still finalizing the development of some of the higher level control software. So in this way, you can certainly anticipate problems related mostly to the electrical part of the plant, so solving the loops and checking that all the instrumentation works. But you can also go ahead and start, let's say, fine-tuning the lower level loops of some PIDs. So it streamlines commissioning in this way. It's in the sense that it shortens it, but it also allows for a more structured commissioning and a reduced effort because of the reusability of code. If you stress the usage of an object-oriented approach in designing your control software, then obviously these initial bigger effort, because you need to develop libraries, then it comes back to you as a reduced amount of error corrections while you are in commissioning. So yes, commissioning is certainly one of the strongest points for adopting this technology.
Yes, thank you, Franco, for answering that. I see some of the questions came already. I will show you the next one from Stephen. A general question to the panel. What is the biggest challenge in updating legacy equipment to utilize IEC 61499? I don't know who wants to start on this question.
I could start. I think I feel that challenge too. If you have legacy equipment, it's hard to justify a full rewrite of your code, your IP to a new standard. And in the example that we used at Shell, it was a PLC that was the code was so obsolete that had to be rewritten anyway. So then it made sense to move towards IEC 61499. But from a customer perspective, I think when you think of the existing legacy systems that are out there, there will be a need to have some kind of migration strategies and some of those things as we go forward into this open space, because that is our intellectual property there, and it's very hard to justify rewriting that all to a new standard versus just having a migration path out.
Good. Any other addition to that comment? Panel?
Well, yeah, also I maybe from my side what I would add is yes, it's not just migrating the application is not sometimes it's not a one-to-one migration, okay? Because one of the 1499 is really bringing a new way of building applications from a new perspective, more asset oriented and more really self-contained type of automation, okay? So I would say one of the challenges would be just thinking in a different manner when adopting 1499 to make the most of the use for the 1499, right? That's something really you need maybe some expertise just to guide you in this process to make the most of this migration to enjoy and for sure benefit from the open automation and universal automation principles for the rest of the planned life cycle.
Franco, you wanted to say something?
Well, just a quick addition to what my colleagues already said is that sometimes you don't need to update the equipment, the legacy equipment themselves. So what you need to do is to integrate them into a newer and larger architecture on top of where you put on top of the legacy systems new layers of automation and control. Which might be an orchestration of legacy system, a supervision, connection between them. So in this case, the question is not just substituting the legacy ones, but how you interface and you correctly embed legacy systems into a new formalism based on 61499. And for this, the answer is honestly and unfortunately is simpler, because you don't need to rewrite code, you don't need to substitute old hardware. What you need to do is to employ some techniques so that you can interface and mask under a 61499 appearance your legacy systems. So this is a point to be considered, I think.
Yeah. So orchestrate the application basically and add a new layer on top of the existing to encapsulate it and orchestrate it.
If you need, because if you don't, you don't touch.
Yeah. Good. Thank you all. One other question which came from Konanda, so addressed to Victor, but I mean, it's open to you all. For end user, measure advantage would come from ease of engineering or from reusability of application in the future. What do you believe? Maybe let's start with you, Victor. If you have,
it's hard to say. I mean, why do you have to choose, right? I would say it's both things, right? You can benefit from both. What would be major impact? Well, time we will see with the time, right? But of course, reusability of application is a big thing, right? Whenever you are moving from different hardware platforms and decoupling this software, today it's you look into other spaces of the technology, right? From video or music or some other type of industries, right? Keeping that intellectual property with the capability to run in any potentially hardware platform, it's a really desirable thing, a really powerful thing, right? So you don't depend any longer to have your intellectual property, your application attached to a physical device. Nowadays, if you ask the young kids, that seems like a thing from the past, right? So it's without a doubt that reusability is huge impact. But the ease of engineering, I would say it's more for maybe for us as automation vendors and for the system integrators sometimes, not because not all the end users, at least in the process automation industries, not all the users just go into the system and start modifying the application. So it maybe would be more advantage, I would say, for automation vendors and system integrators rather than for end users. But again, it's just be careful, right? Because it will depend on the customer, it will be depend on the industry. So it also can bring a lot of value for end users as well.
Good. Any other comments?
Yeah, I would just add there, Greg. I think the UAO throws up the ecosystem of a marketplace of applications. So that creates a complete new spectrum of software developers who can provide applications in the marketplace which can be adopted to their various hardwares and various applications. It also ensures that a company like Shell building some kind of an optimization application and then being able to deploy it across the world at their different plants. So definitely, my opinion, perspective, the reusability of applications is going to be a major driver for the end users, basically. That's all.
Good, thank you. Trevor, Franco, maybe? Any?
I would say, I guess, the reusable of applications, kind of like both Victor and Ravi said, is first a decoupling from your hardware, so you can use your applications, you control and move to any hardware as you move along, and you don't have to lose that work you've done to it. And as well, when you start thinking large scale, of the ability to take something you developed for one place and be able to just take that container and move it over and utilize it in much of your other facilities would definitely create a good advantage.
Good. Good. I see one last question. I don't see who it is, but I think the question is migration strategy from 6.11.31 to 6.14.99. What are the top ones in your experience? So I think, Victor, you started already to answer that in the previous question.
Yeah. Yeah, to me, it's the biggest one is just typically whenever you build an application in the past with 11.31, you were more focused on the bits and bytes, right? In the just connecting the signals, and then eventually, depending on your platform, you may have the option of start creating templates that are attached to specific devices, right? But not all the systems support that. So you just basically start writing code or creating function blocks without a given structure. One of the biggest major potential of the adoption of 1499 is really this asset-centric approach to the application. So you really build kind of digital twin inside your application where you can easily see the different assets, the devices, the pumps, the valves, the tanks, the reactors, the everything, right? So later, if you design or you migrate your application based on those principles, rather than, again, trying to do a one-to-one migration, which is, I would say it's not the preferred way. Whenever you are using this asset-oriented, you later, whenever you are running your plan, you will benefit from that approach, right? It's just being a big jump whenever you are handling the application, because later, whoever accessing the application will understand it, right? Because it will be just different units. You will have a type of plan hierarchy, and you will have your process units, and then you can really see in the control configurator how the valves are connected to the different devices and the pumps and what are the dependencies, rather than entering in the application and start seeing hundreds or thousands of connections going nowhere and difficult really to handle. So to me, that's one of the more principles that makes sense whenever do a migration strategy. But there are many others. That is really I would say this is a nice topic and complex topic. Maybe others in the table can share their experiences.
Yeah. Actually, I would like to add something, because if by migration strategy you mean how can I reuse my 6.11.31 code migrated to 6.14.99, let me be harsh. Start from scratch. It's not like you cannot. It's like you don't want. The design principles of an object-oriented language like 6.14.99 are really exploited only the moment you adopt in full its new semantics. You cannot do that if you come from the procedural and cycle time-based approach of 6.11.31. What you risk is maybe you save some 1,000 lines of code, but you will get an application in 6.14.99 which is not really exploiting 6.14.99. So in the end, the amount of time you would have spent, in the end, in any case, it's to be redone. So my suggestion is to actually go and start from scratch and learn from scratch and redo things, which for companies and system integrators, which might have years of accumulated software from previous projects, obviously it appears as a big obstacle, as a mountain to be climbed. But you need to look beyond that mountain, beyond the what accepting a new paradigm of software development unleashes in the future, which is integration with higher layers of the automation pyramid, integration of the advanced data analytics and, let's say, supervisory control loops outside of the controller. Everybody's talking about AI, but if you don't change the way you design control software, AI is useless for automation. So all of these, if you do it with legacy technologies, with an old language like 6.11.31 languages, you will spend thousands of hours to achieve minor results. This is the investment that you are doing in migrating to a new language.
Great addition. So I think we slowly come to the end of this this panel discussion. So basically, we have been and we have seen what open means and what open can enable, and we have seen through the different example as well how universal automation is supporting next generation of software-defined automation. Maybe just a last word to you all, maybe a call to action that you want to send to the community. Let's start with you, Trevor.
Yeah, thanks. I guess what I'd say is I do believe that open automation, this new way of doing our automation for our facilities, is going to be the way of the future. And for that to happen, we just need the vendors, we need the customers to jump on board to join your organizations like UAO and OPATH and try to drive that open architecture into the future.
Thank you. What about you, Victor?
Well, from my perspective, my call to action is to the users, because similar way we have seen big transformational changes in the society during the last 2 years. right? With the smartphones and all the revolution on the streaming and all the different technologies, how IT technologies has changed the world we are living in. This change is also coming to automation world. And the focus is more than ever in the services and the capability of the platform to protect the IP and enable data to make the most of use of it in the platform without any dependencies. So universal automation is about the users, and it's basically challenging us, the automation vendors, to reinvent ourselves to better serve our customers. So that will be my message.
Thank you, Victor. Franco, any call to action?
Yeah, a quick one actually, and it's related to the fact that I'm actually connecting to what Victor said. The world of automation is changing, and it's not going to stop. And it takes time to actually accept, learn, and exploit this new technology. So either you start now, and you have the time to be ready when you will be asked for, or you decide to wait and you will be late. And when you will be late, there will be someone else stealing your job. So it's a quite harsh environment. A quite radical change is happening. The revolution that we have been talking about for the industry, from my point of view, is happening now, is starting to happen now. And you need to embrace a new approach and not stay attached to the old one, very simply.
Thank you, Franco. Ravi, call to action from your side?
Yeah, I think we have already set the action. We have the offer on the table to answer Franco. We are ready with the hardware, so we have taken the leap, and I hope other vendors also join in and broaden the ecosystem. The hardware of Stahl is very strong for the hazardous areas globally, which can be put into a zone 1, zone 2, div 1, div 2, intrinsically safe applications. And in addition to that, I also would say the decoupling of hardware, software, reusability of application opens up a new ecosystem, a new marketplace for software vendors. I believe we had a presentation sometime back from Amibi of Brazil, who talked about some software development they did. And I believe that is the way to go to bring in a big ecosystem of hardware and software vendors. So all the best to all the vendors to start somewhere today.
Thank you all. Maybe a last comment from my side. So on behalf of universalautomation.org, first I would like to thank you all for taking the time to be present for this panel discussion. It was really great to have your feedback, your experience as a user or as a vendor of automation, and I think this gives a very valuable view to our viewers on next steps, next generation of automation system, because in fact next generation is already today. You are already using those technologies which are there to make automation advance. And a call to action to our users: join us, join universalautomation.org. If you are users, if you are a vendor, join us, make the road with us, draw the next generation of automation system. If you are a user, it's very easy to be with us. You can influence the technology. And if you are a user, that's very easy as well to make an offer and have it on the market, since the technology is already there and it can be already shared with you. So as you see here as an example, we have Schneider and we have the company Stahl, but many others are already decided to become members of universalautomation.org, and they are slowly commercializing offers to the market, which is good and which is helping the users such as Trevor and Franco having an easier job at the end by having let's say a full basket of products which are available. So thank you all. I wish you a nice end of the day, and I will talk to you next time. See you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.